about vaccinations. This is what a child in the first years of life receives in micrograms and milligrams, etc. 17,500 macrograms of phenoxyethanol, antifreeze, the first 6 years of life. 5,700 micrograms of aluminum, a known neurotoxin. Unknown quantities of bovine serum, 801.6 micrograms of formaldehyde, a carcinogen, embalming agent. 23,250 micrograms of gelatin, animal carcass soil. 500 micrograms of human albumin. 760 micrograms of monosodium glutamate. Unknown quantities of Merck, MRC5 cells, aborted human babies. More than 10 micrograms of neomycin, an antibiotic with cross M bones on it. More than 560 micrograms of polysorbate 80, 160 micrograms of potassium chloride, 188 micrograms of potassium phosphate, 260 micrograms of sodium bicarbonate. That's the only one I agree with, by the way. And the list goes on. 270 micrograms of sodium borate, 54,100 micrograms of sodium chloride, it's table salt, unknown quantities of sodium citrate, unknown quantities of sodium hydroxide, 2,800 micrograms of sodium phosphate, unknown quantities of sodium phosphate, monohydrate, which are toxic to the body. Sorbitol, 32,000 micrograms. Streptomycin, 0.6 micrograms, more than 40,000 micrograms of sucrose, cane sugar, 35,000 micrograms of yeast protein. Promotes, compromises the environment, which leads to an increase of fungi. We have documented this in the blood. 5,000 micrograms of urea, metabolic residues of human urine. This is what we are injecting into our newborn babies. As I said earlier, not in this format, the only thing you prove by vaccinating your children is that if they live through it, is you just poisoned them and they survived it. There is no such thing as providing immunity or antibodies against these so-called assaults when it's not about the matter, it's about the environment around the matter. People still get sick, and I'll give you some statistics here as it relates to this, particularly measles. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this may be information overload. This was viral existence has never been scientifically demonstrated, has never been proven. All viruses from HIV, EBV, CMV, hepatitis C, West Nile virus, Ebola, measles, Zika, polio, the list goes on and on. This is how you centrifuge for determining or demonstrating the existence of virus. This is what they talk about that they do. Now here's the fraud. They don't do it. And if they do it, they don't find a virus. So there's now over 100 years of documented history and research on the polio virus and the measles virus, well, maybe less, 50 years, whether or not its treatment by inoculation has been successful in eradicating polio. I am suggesting in my article and in my lecture that there are significant findings based on historical and past and current research, including my own, that viral theory of polio and possibly other modern-day diseases, such as post-polio syndrome, and the list goes on. And other related DDT pesticides are caused by DDT-related pesticides, acidic vaccination, and other factors, including lifestyle dietary factors, rather than from one lone Pasteurian theory document to validate this theory. Look at the graph. Polio in the United States, graphic timeline, 1870 to 1998. look at when they took DDT out. What happened? Not because of vaccination. In fact, the Salk vaccination actually caused more polio. The reason why was it was because of chemical poisoning from that vaccine and any other, on top of that, the acidic condition of the interstitial fluids, which currently are unknown to modern medicine, untested by modern medicine. And so you see polio incidence and pesticide production as it rises up and as it drops down. So we're going to be seeing more incidents of paralysis. What they do, we can't have polio. We've already cured that. So we're going to put another name on it. That's what they do in the cancer business. That's what they've done in HIV. HIV will just quietly go away, and there'll be a new name for AIDS, acquired immune deficiency. Polioincitis incidence timeline from 1912 to 1970. Why is polio on the rise? Because DDT somewhere in the world is being used, and they're importing that food into the U.S. market. And if it's not DDT, it's Roundup, glycophosphates. And they were so convinced that it was helpful, they actually sprayed it on everyone, even children during school. They were sprayed. So here you see the polio incidence and DDT production from 1940 to 70 in millions of pounds, and what happened as that came off. Has nothing to do with the efficacy of vaccines. I want you to understand my position on this. See, once you understand there's no virus, what's the point? What are you inoculating for? So what they did, they said, well, wait a minute, polio can't come back. We have a cure, so let's call it something else. Acute flaccid paralysis, because we can't have polio.